जय राधा माधवा जय कुंज बिहारी जय जय कुंज बिहारी जय गोपी जनवल्लभा जय गिरिवरधारी जय गिरिवरधारी जय जय गिरिवरधारी जय गिरिवरधारी जय यशोदनंदन जय व्रज जनरंजन जय व्रज जनरंजन जय नंदन जय व्रज जनरंजन जय व्रज जनरंजन जय यमुनतीरावनचारी जय कुंज बिहारी जय यमुनतीरावनचारी जय कुंज बिहारी जय यमुनतीरावनचारी जय कुंज बिहारी जय जय राधा माधवा जय कुंज बिहारी जय जय गोपी जनवल्लभा जय गिरिवरधारी जय गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जनवल्लभा जय यशोदनंदन जय व्रज जनरंजन जय व्रज जनरंजन जय जय यमुनतीरावनचारी जय कुंज बिहारी जय यमुनतीरावनचारी जय कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधवा जय कुंज बिहारी जय राधा जय राधा माधवा जय कुंज बिहारी जय श्री श्री राधा माधव की जय श्री श्री राधा श्याम सुंदर ललिता विशाखा की जय श्री श्री कृष्ण बलराम की जय श्री श्री गौर निताय की जय ग्रंथराज श्री श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय अनंत कोटि वैष्णव की जय निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि 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 बोल वांछकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यश्च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः हरे कृष्ण. So we are reading from Bhagavatam 10th canto, chapter 48, verses 23, 24 and 25. I will recite just the verse and translation for 23 and 24. Then we can do 25 in repetition with synonyms and purport as well. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam udirayet nashtaprayeshu bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. So I will recite verse 23 and 24. Tvayoditoyam jagato hitaya Yada yada vedapatah puranah badhyet pashandapathair asadbhe tada bhavan sattvagunam vibharti. You originally enunciated the ancient religious path of the Vedas for the benefit of the whole universe. Whenever that path becomes obstructed by wicked persons following the path of atheism, you assume one of your incarnations, which are all in the transcendental mode of goodness. Sattvam prabhodya vasudeva griheva tirnaha swamshena bharam apanetu mihasi bhume akshauhini shatavadhena sureta ramsha rajñam amushya chakulasya yasho vitanman. You are that very same Supreme Person, my Lord, and you have now appeared in the home of Vasudeva with your plenary portion. You have done this to relieve the earth's burden by killing hundreds of armies led by kings who are expansions of the demigods' enemies, and also to spread the fame of our dynasty. It's a small purport here, I'll just read it. The term Sureta Ramsha Rajñam indicates that the demoniac kings slain by Krishna were in fact expansions or incarnations of the enemies of the demigods. This fact is elaborately explained in the Mahabharata, which reveals the specific identities of the demoniac kings. Now let's do this verse 25 with recitation. Adyeshano vasatayah kalubhuri bhaga yah sarvadeva pitrubhuta nrideva murtihi Yat padashaucha salilam trijagat punati Sattvam jagat guru radhoksha jayah pravishtaha Adyeshano vasatayah khalu bhuri bhaga Yah sarvadeva pitrubhuta nrideva murtihi Yat padashaucha salilam trijagat punati Sattvam jagat guru radhoksha jayah pravishtaha. Prabhus? Anybody? On? Is it on? Is it there? Okay, yeah, please. Adyeshano vasatayah kalu bhuri bhaga. Yah sarvadeva pitrubhuta nrudeva murtihi. Yad pada shaucha salilam trijagat punati. Sattvam jagat guru radokshajaya pravishtaha. Adyeshano vasatayah kaluburi bhaga. Yah sarvadeva pitrubhuta nrudeva murtihi. Yat pada shaucha salilam trijagat punati. Sattvam jagat guru radhokshajaya pravishtaha. Mataji. Adyeshano vasatayah kalu bhuri bhaga. Yah sarvadeva pitrubhuta nrudeva murtihi. Yad pada shaucha salilam trijagat punati. Sattvam jagat guru radhokshajaya pravishtaha. Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. This chanda is a beautiful name, Vasanta Tilakam, this chanda is called. Krishna has his, Vasanta means very pleasing, and Tilakam, this is like the glorifying ornament for Krishna. So, most of the prayers in Bhagavatam will be like we have Brahma Samhita, then we have many of the Mukundamala Sutras, and many prayers in Bhagavatam are in this beautiful meter. So, as Krishna says, he himself is coming out in the form of these meters. It's very beautifully sung and we can relish it this way. So, let's go to the word for word. Adya, today, Isha, O Lord, Naha, our, Vasatayaha, residence, Khalu, indeed, Bhuri, extremely, Bhagaha, fortunate, Yaha, who, Sarvadeva, the Supreme Lord, Pitra, the forefathers, Bhuta, all living creatures, Nra, human beings, Deva, and the demigods, Murtihi, who embody, Yat, whose, Pada, feet, Shaucha, which has washed, Salilam, the water of the river Ganges, Tri Jagat, the three worlds, Punati, purifies, Saha, he, Tvam, you, Jagat, of the universe, Guruhu, the spiritual master, Adhokshaja, O you, who are beyond the purview of the material senses. Yaha, which, Pravishtaha, having entered. Translation and purport, please hear. Today, please repeat. Today, O Lord, my home has become most fortunate because you have entered it. As the Supreme Truth, you embody the forefathers, ordinary creatures, human beings, and demigods, and the water that has washed your feet purifies the three worlds. Indeed, O Transcendent One, you are the spiritual master of the universe. Purport, please hear. Srila Swami has nicely interpreted Akrura's feelings as follows. Akrura said, "My Lord, although I am a householder, today my home has become more pious than the forests where sages perform austerities. Why? Simply because you have entered my home. Indeed, You are the personification of the deities who preside over the 5 sacrifices a householder must perform daily to atone for unavoidable violence committed to living beings in the home. You are the spiritual truth behind all these creations, and now you have entered my home. The 5 daily sacrifices enjoined for a householder are: 1. Sacrifice to Brahman by studying the Vedas. 2. Sacrifice to the forefathers by making offerings to them. 3. Sacrifice to all creatures by putting aside a portion of one's meals. 4. Sacrifice to human beings by extending hospitality. And 5. Sacrifice to the demigods by performing 5 sacrifices, and so on. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guroho Shri Yutapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitanscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyayevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabho Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Mukham karoti vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yatkripa Tamaham Mande Shri Gurun Dinatarinam Shri Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanyamishwaram. Namo Vishnupada Krishna Prashta Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminat Namne Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pacharani Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Devatarini. Thank you, Mahatma Prabhu, for giving us a chance to glorify Srimad Bhagavatam in the assembly of all the wonderful Vaishnavas, and taking the blessings of all senior Vaishnavas. Just trying to share some thoughts from these few slokas which we have. This particular chapter itself is so beautifully titled, Krishna Pleases His Devotees. Wonderful chapter. Because if you look back, it goes back to, say, I think around 37, 38 chapter, where Krishna kills the last of the demons, Keshi and that Vyomasura. And Kamsa is exhausted with all his quota of, what do you call that, a stock of demons. So Narad Muni knew this whole thing, and then he goes and tells Kamsa that the boy you were searching for is out there in Vrindavan. Then he becomes furious, and then he is going to kill Devaki and Vasudeva. But Narad Muni, being the transcendental devotee, Vaishnava, so he ensures that Kamsa listens to him fully. Because while he gives this message, at the same time he says, what's the use of killing Devaki and Vasudeva? You have to first kill Krishna. And he gives a few beautiful logical reason behind that. He says, if you kill Devaki and Vasudeva, then you will not be able to bring Krishna and Balaram. They will run away from Vrindavan. So you won't be able to catch them. See how logical Narad Muni is. So Kamsa at that point says, oh yeah, what you are saying is correct. So he says, okay, let me put them in jail for now. So second time they go into the prison. And then at that point he makes all the arrangements with the demons, like Mushtika, Chanura and all those things. And then he calls Akrura and tells Akrura that he holds his hand, and he tells him that please you go and bring this Krishna and Balaram in this chariot, new chariot. He's showing a new chariot that he bought. So nicely mentioned it there in the Bhagavatam. These are little bit things and little nitty-gritty things you will see, find that there's a sweetness in there. How Kamsa was thinking that Akrura, anybody who you give a new bike or car, they like to go for a ride. So he thought Akrura will go for a ride in that way. That's a demoniac way of thinking. But Akrura, being a pure devotee of the Lord, he thinks that why should I take the one that is Muchi, like already used by you, that Ratha why should I take to bring my dear Lords, Krishna and Balram? So he says that, okay, Krishna has inspired you to give this new chariot for this purpose. So let me take and go. But the beauty here is, we have to understand the mood of Akrura here. Because he is one of those, the dynasties, Vishnus, Yadus, who stayed back in spite of Kamsa's atrocities. While many of them fled to different directions, when after he put Surasena into the prison and Devaki Vasudeva into prison, and he was committing atrocities everywhere, very few stayed back in Mathura because they knew that for sure that Ashariri, that voice, the divine voice will come true. And so they wanted to be there when the Lord is appearing. And moreover, if the Lord is appearing and if the Ashariri is true, then it's going to be true that Kamsa is going to be killed also. So eventually he will be killed. So we just have to patiently wait for the time when Krishna decides to finish off all the demons. He has his own plans. So even though we may not know the plans of the Lord in minute details, at a high level we know that yes, Krishna is saying Paritarana sadhunam nayashaya chadushkritam. He says that, right, in Bhagavad Gita. He's going to come and kill anyway. So we just have to hold our breath, keep our head afloat in the ocean so that we are alive. Then eventually things will happen. So Akrura was one of those rare devotees who stayed back in Mathura, while naturally you would want to go to Golokundavan or Nanda Gokulam and Golokundavan and enjoy Krishna's childhood pastimes. But he wanted to stay back with Kamsa. That way, Kamsa thought also that a bit of loyalty is there in Akrura. So he started believing in him, developing trust in him that, okay, he will do whatever I say. So this is a very important point to note, because while enduring this atrocities of Kamsa, they had to undergo tremendous sufferings. Because in front of them he will kill devotees, they have to keep quiet. He will torture the devotees, he will not let any of the devotion related things to be spoken around also. Akrura cannot go around and preach to anybody there. He cannot do book distributions in Mathura. In those days, right? We are able to do freely. But he couldn't do anything. Like Bhishma Deva and Vidura also could not speak a single word of glorifying Krishna or Pandavas in Hastinapur, right? So similar case was there for Akrura also. So when Akrura was patiently waiting, Krishna acknowledged that patience. Krishna acknowledged that forbearance. That is why he arranged for Kamsa to give this service of bringing Krishna and Balram to Mathura when the time was ripe, right? So this is something which we learn as part of devotional service from Akrura, that there will be a lot of times when it will be really tough. Things will be really tough. But the tough gets going when the going gets tough, we say, right? We heard, right? So Akrura is one of those tough devotee that he could do anything for the sake of Krishna's pleasure. So that is one of the reasons why there is a beautiful shloka in, I think in Nectar of Devotion, right? Where it glorifies personalities for each of those 9 limbs of devotional service. Parikshit Maharaj for hearing, Shukadeva Goswami for Kirtan, Sankirtan. Remember hearing Kirtan and all? So that's a beautiful verse, Shri Krishna Shravane Parikshit Abhavat Vaiyasaki Kirtane Prahlada Smarane Tadangri Bhajane Lakshmi Pritu Pujane Akrurastva Bhivandane Kapipatir Dasyeta Sakhyarjuna Sarvaswatmani Nivedhane Balirabhut Krishnaptire Shampara. Beautiful shloka, this is first Parikshit Maharaj for hearing, then Shukadeva Goswami for chanting kirtans, then Prahlada for smaranam, for remembrance, Tadangri Bhajane Lakshmi, serving his lotus feet is Lakshmi Devi, then Pritu Pujane, Pritu is for puja, and then the next is Akrura Abhivandan, Vandanam is the best example for Vandanam is Akrura. And then we have Hanuman for Dasya and Arjuna for Sakya. Then Bali Maharaj for surrendering everything completely. Krishna Apti Resham Param. They obtained Krishna. Apti means they obtained, or they even, I would say, they grasped Krishna in that way. Grabbed Krishna. So, Akrura is glorified for this process of Vandanam. And Vandanam means prayers, we all know. And Bhagavatam is full of prayers. And there are so many devotees who are offered prayers in Bhagavatam. Kunti has offered, Bhishma Deva has offered, Brahma has offered, Dhruva Maharaj. So many of them have offered, and all of them are glorious in itself. But why Akrura had to be chosen specifically for this, the service of Vandanam service, prayer service? Other things are okay. Hanuman is Dasya is best, we know. Arjuna is Sakya, that we have heard many times. Akrura we haven't heard so much except for those 2-3 chapters, and also one more is little tricky chapter of Shamantaka Jal. Yes, so we devotees always have this question. Like, you can't doubt the devotion of Arjuna or Hanuman or others, right? Shukadeva Goswami. But there is a little bit tricky thing about Akrura, but that is also beautifully explained by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. We will see that later. But all said and done, our Akrura is the best example for Vandanam. Why it is so? Because Vandanam is not only that we just, when we go and stand in front of the Lord, or we say that we start the prayers standing in front of the Lord. That is not the only part. Actually, it is preceded by many other steps in that process, whole process. That all those things were, all those steps were so nicely exhibited by Akrura in Srimad Bhagavatam in those few chapters. That is why we can appreciate that whole mood of Vandanam. Because many times we want to offer prayers, we think that only if I stand in front of the Lord and offer prayers, that is there. So then I think that, okay, I will start an yatra from, say, wherever I am to Vrindavan. Then I come in front of Krishna Balram, Radha Shyam Sundar, and then I will say the prayers. I say that, I think that, okay, this is the only service. Or sometimes we may not get the darshan properly, we feel little dejected, whatever. But you will see from Akrura's whole life, he had very brief time with Krishna. But his whole life was Vandanam. How? Because the very first thing is that he patiently tolerated all the sufferings that was created by the demoniac elements led by Kamsa, patiently waiting for Krishna to bestow his blessings. You know that Tenukampam Susamikshamana, we know that sloka, right? Where Dayabhag. So that is the first requirement of Vandanam. Otherwise our Vandanam will become like a ritual. We go and stand in front of the Lord and chant the prayers and think that, yes, I have pleased the Lord. Right? And then immediately after the prayer, when we come out, whether we have pleased the Lord or not depends on how much more longer we carry Krishna in our heart after the prayers. Right? As soon as our thing is over, the moment we go out, there is so many attractions around, And when we come also, there are so many attractions. For example, when we come to yatra, we have to, when we come to yatra, we make so many preparations, right? But first, we don't think about whether we will get darshan of the Lord, whether we will be able to do some seva for the Lord. Those things don't take priority. the first thing that comes when you are coming from South India, the first problem they will have is whether they will get idli dosa in Vrindavan or not. Or if you go from here to Srirangam or Tirupati, the first problem will be whether you will get roti, dal, chapati or not. That's how normally people think. First, we are an Annamaya platform, so we don't have this faith that Krishna will give what is needed. That is the first requirement of Vandanam. When we have that part in our heart that I have come here, Krishna will take care. It's a beautiful sloka is there. Bhojana achadame vritaha chintana purvanti vaishnavaha. Sadeva vishwambaraha bhaktanam kim upekshate. Bhojana achadame means devotees never worry about prasadam and shelter over the top, whether I will get a place to stay. Vritaha chintana purvanti. They don't chinta. They don't have any anxiety over whether they will get it or not. Why? Sadeva vishwambaraha. My Lord is supplying for the whole universe. Bhaktanam kim upekshate. How can he neglect his own devotees? So that is the faith that we learn from Akrura. First thing is the faith that whatever I am going through, Krishna is seeing, and he is not a silent observer, he is protecting us. Even during the calamities, if our faith in Krishna is steady and progressing, then that is the real mercy, costless mercy of Krishna. Not whatever Dhanyavan, all those things that he is giving, that is not of, everything will go away one day. So this first thing is tolerating, all the sufferings. And the next thing is having unflinching faith in Krishna that he is our ultimate protector and he is protecting us always. These two things are Akrura had. Just imagine, we are in the most holiest dham here. There is no restrictions at all in doing devotional service. Suppose if you have to go to some foreign places where you are restricted from following your practices. We know in some places in Middle East and some of these other places where you can't go out with tilak kurta or dhoti kurta or kantimala and all. You can't chant outside. You have to be very, very clandestine, in your services. So we can't stay there. As it is, Akrura and many such souls like Mahatma Vidura and Bhishma, all of them, all through their life, they were practicing such difficult devotional service. So it requires tremendous amount of faith in Krishna. And our Prabhupada is the personification of that faith. We only focus more on the 10 years, that last 10 years where it was like exponentially exploding. But in the beginning days, every single thing that he took he was faced with struggles. If you read those books, memories of Prabhupada in various forms, like in how he built the Juhu temple against all odds. There was a time when they cancelled the agreement, and His Holiness Giriraj Maharaj calls Prabhupada to convey this message. And Prabhupada says, they say that the agreement is cancelled. Then Prabhupada tells them that, then it's all finished. And that statement is like a thunderbolt, And that's the last word. Prabhupada would be the last person to speak that word. So they were really worried. He always said, I am the last person to give up. But when he said this, it was like a thunderbolt for them. If Prabhupada gives up, then what's the point? But internally, Prabhupada never gave up. Externally he told this so that the devotees will understand the mistakes or how to rectify those mistakes. If everything Prabhupada is doing, then we will become careless. Right? We will have to put in our endeavor also. Of course, he is the one doing it, but we have to put in our endeavor to extract his mercy. So internally he was working through the whole thing, and that whole pastime is so amazing. That's how we learn from all our acharyas also, that they never gave up. That's the most important requirement for devotional service. Never ever give up. Even in the most difficult circumstances, never give up. Somehow or other try to struggle. Krishna appreciates our struggle than struggle in our services, rather than more than the taste that we might say I am advancing and I am progressing and all that feeling. Even those feelings should not come to us. That feeling also means Maya. So Akrura had this first thing is tolerating, second thing is implicit faith, and he was forbearing so much. Now, he was always hankering, when will that day come, when will that day come. So this hankering should be there in us even when we go for yatras or we want to do services, like that it is book distribution or preaching service, whatever it may be. That hankering should be there. Earnestness should be there. Unless that eagerness or earnestness is there, our service will not have that bhav, seva bhav in it. We should be looking forward to that Mangalarti time, we should be looking forward to that chanting time, that looking forward should be there. Instead of just going around like, okay, mechanically finishing it off, then it's not going to go. We ourselves will feel that, we didn't really do a good job of it. But when we struggle through, Krishna really appreciates it. So, its actual Vandanam starts from that point where we have that unflinching faith and we wait for that time, opportune time to do the service. But in that waiting time, we should not simply sit idle. So, it's always said that waiting time is the preaching time. So, no, devotees will say, oh, I don't have anybody to preach to. But the greatest person we always carry with us, preach to our own minds. Because the whole Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, all the scriptures are all for preaching to our minds first. Then we can preach to others. If our mind is not listening, there is no point. If no one else, if the whole world listens to us, it's of no use. If our own mind doesn't listen to these transcendental instructions. So Akrura was preaching to his mind. There is a beautiful thing with Narad Muni also. He was also having that kalam pratikshan vimado vimatsarah. Namanyanantasya hatatra pahpatan guhyani badrani krithani chasmaran gaum paryatan tushtamana gataspruhaha kalam pratikshan vimado vimatsarah. The 10 qualities. Namani Anantasya Hatatrapa Patan. He was chanting Krishna's names all the time, forgetting all the formalities. Formalities of this world. The greatest formalities is not just how we dress alone. That is one level of external formality. But the greatest formalities are birth, death, old age and disease. If we ignore these and do our devotional service, that is the real Hatatrapa Patan. Because formality means that which you don't like, but it is enforced upon us. Helplessly we have to follow. I don't like to wear tie, go to the office, but they enforce it upon me. I don't like to wear shoes, that they enforce it upon me. Because I like to please other person for my benefit, whatever. So this birth, death and old age and disease, these are enforced upon me even though I don't want it. But when we ignore this and keep doing our devotional service, kalam pratikshan, vimado vimatsaraha. He gives beautifully. He travels all the over Gamparyatan with tushtamana, completely satisfied heart, mind, and gataspruhaha, no touch of sense gratification at all. Kalam pratikshan. He was waiting for that last moment. See, this is a very terrible time to wait for, because Krishna himself told that in this lifetime you are not going to see me anymore. Right? If somebody is telling us that in this lifetime, this is your last opportunity to do book distribution seva, somebody is so much attracted to that, and if he says that, then he will be devastated, isn't it? But that is the point when somebody says, no, you can't do book distribution anymore, you are bedridden, for example, right? Suddenly because of some whatever health issue, we can't go out and do book distribution, which they might have been doing it for, say, decades together. That is kalam pratikshan, that is where you have to wait. But waiting is not idle. You can open the book and read Prabhupada's books during that time, One of the devotees met with an accident in Chennai. He was a pujari, every day he was doing service, and then he fell down and got multiple fractures all over the body and was admitted in the hospital. So all the devotees were worried about him, and he said that, no, I am extremely happy now. I have all the time in the world to read Prabhupada's books now. I can just keep reading Prabhupada's books, studying seriously. Krishna said, Jagannath told me that, you did all the service, it's all right, but you didn't read Prabhupada's books yet, so you take this time to do that. So devotees always find positive energy in it. So when you are not able to do your service very freely in the external world, Krishna always says that you do manasik seva. one of the devotees one young girl came to my spiritual master and asked, she was a just college going girl. She said, Maharaj, my home, they are not allowing me to chant, they are very not favorable. So I am telling lies to my parents that I am going to coaching class and I am going to temple, attend programs. Then Maharaj denied that immediately. He said, no, never do this again. Don't tell lies to your parents. Be at home and do chanting silently. Then she said, no, they are really upset, frustrated or upset as soon as they see me with chanting back. Then he said, no, count in your fingers. You don't have to carry your beads at home and show that you are a devotee. No, but if they hear the voice also, they feel very disturbed. So no, you chant inside your mind. They can't come and inspect your mind. They can inspect outside. So there are always practical ways. We put our some unnecessary restrictions that I have to do like this, like that, and all. Then it doesn't work. Akrura, Vidura, and Bhishmadev, they are all the best examples for us in front of us. They couldn't speak a single word in front of those administrators. So, but because of their forbearance, they are given a chance. Bhishmadev never gave a single Bhagavatam class throughout his life. He was the longest living person in the entire Kuru dynasty, and he was the last to leave. All the others left, Duryodhana, Dushasana, all others left. But he stayed on till the last moment, right? He was the last one to leave. But Krishna gave one chance, the last chance, to give the Bhagavatam class, and that Bhagavatam class is, even now it is with us after so many thousands of years. It's not, there is no point in giving so many classes, so many things, but even if you do one, do it properly so that it stays on forever. That's how Kirti Yasya Sajivati, they say. So Prabhupada just stayed for 10 years, but you see even now his classes are so glorious. So now, when they get the chance, they do it with so much earnestness that they will forget all the physical incapabilities or tiredness or whatever, and they will actually treat that the bodily ailments or incapabilities as a stepping stone for doing more service, as an impetus to do more service. Like Uddhava, for example, he was doing more intense service as he was growing older and older. Right? Bhishmadev, their old age and difficult condition didn't come in the way of their devotional service. So, what Akrura did, throughout the whole journey, he was thinking of Krishna. This is the third lesson we should learn from. First is tolerance, second is unflinching faith, and third is, of course, earnestness, kalam pratikshan, waiting time, that one. Fourth is, we have to learn from Akrura that we should think of Krishna even while going to do that service. Like say, suppose we start from, say, somewhere from west, east or south, all the way to Vrindavan. We should be thinking of, oh, how nice Shyam Sundar will be dressed, or how nice Krishna Balram will be dressed, and how smiling, enchanting their smile will be. So we should be meditating on that while coming, even while walking from our home to Mangalarti. That walking time we can meditate on that. That time when we start, that itself is devotional service. So when new people come also, we should encourage them by this way that, the moment you book the ticket to go to, say, Vrindavan, Mathura, or Mayapur, wherever, Yatra, from that moment your devotional service starts. They will be encouraged. They'll be so much worried that, will I get accommodation, will the facility will be there, will I get proper prasadam, and all these kind of thoughts will be there before coming to the Dham. But, we don't understand that Krishna is taking care of everybody, That faith is required. So when we all come, this is the mood with which you carry to come to see the Lord. And with this, when we come, then we can offer beautiful prayers to the Lord. Our prayers will please the Lord. And that's what happened in Akrura's case. Because the first time when he comes to meet them in Vrindavan, to take them to Mathura, right? He thinks all through the way he is thinking, how Krishna and Balram will be receiving me. I've never seen them when they were born, so now they will be so much grown up, and they will so lovingly catch hold of my hands and share such loving words, because he never heard any loving words in Mathura with Kamsa's team. So he is going for the first time to hear from Nanda Maharaj, Yashoda, and all other cowherds. So he is going in that mood. And then when he sees Krishna and Balram, he is so overcome by love that he is there, he is meeting them, and he is talking to all of them. And when we appreciate, this is where five important things are required in our vandan, in our prayers, or in our any service that we do. First is humility, second is gratitude, then simplicity, sincerity, and earnestness. These five ingredients are there in our prayers, then Krishna will be automatically pleased by it. Because we should have a very simple heart. We should not have too many thinkings and all. Next, we should be very sincere, not do a shortcut and this kind of a thing, okay, somehow get it done and go out of it. Then the next important thing is gratitude. We actually speaking, we don't have the qualification to take darshan of the Lord. We don't have the qualification to see the Lord. Because premanjana churita bhakti vilochanena, if we really introspect in our heart, do we have premanjana churita is something which we can inspect ourselves, right? So when it is not there also, still if Krishna is giving, then there is something like a bonanza which we are not qualified at all. So we should take it with both hands, isn't it? So we should be extremely grateful for that mercy of Krishna. Then naturally humility. I am not at all qualified. Still Krishna is giving. That humility is there. But then earnestness is very important, like how Akrura had. These were all the ingredients we had. We don't deserve to see his form with all our disqualifications, but still the Lord is kind enough to show his transcendental form. This we should, and when with this mood when we go, then Krishna fulfills our desires. And this way Krishna pleases the devotees. That title is there, no? He, in this chapter, if you see, two devotees promise he fulfills. One is the Trivakra, Kubja, and the next is Akrura. You see an interesting thing, connection, why first when Akrura brings Krishna to Mathura, he pleads to Krishna that you please come to our home. At that time Krishna denies, I will come later, he says. There is a reason behind that. Because this Kamsa is watching, having spies all around. So if he sees that Krishna is going to Akrura's home, he will see there is some hidden thing between them, some secret pact is between them. So see, Akrura might have already told Krishna that, okay, Kamsa is planning all these things, so be careful. So, he is too much in the demoniac thinking, no? So, Akrura didn't realize that, being simple at heart. But Krishna knew that. So, let me not trouble Akrura now. Let everything go as it needs to be. And then I will come back. But then, see, Krishna never forgets his promises. When he promises, it stays there and it is done. Right? In Kubja also, Kubja's case he fulfilled. In all the cases of all the devotees he fulfilled. In Bhishma Dev's case also he fulfilled his wish. And in Akrura's case also he fulfills his wish here. That's why he is called Satyavratam. Satyavratam, Satyaparam, Trisatyam, Satyasya Yonim, Nihitam cha Satye, Satyasya Satyam, Vrata Satya Netram, Satyatmakam Tvam Sharanam Prapanna. Satyavratam, he has taken a vow that he will fulfill his vows, Kaunte Pratijanihi Name Bhakta Pranashati, we know that vow also. So this is very true that Krishna comes to fulfill that wish of Akrura. Now that's where he actually offers these prayers. This, so many times Akrura is offering these prayers. But in the 12th verse, there is a nice point mentioned in this chapter. That he says, in the translation, then Lord Krishna, wanting to have some things done, went to Akrura's home. That's a beautiful phrase. Because he just doesn't go to some devotee's house just like that. When he goes to enters devotee's house, he wants to engage them in some service. So he wants to engage Akrura in the service of going to Hastinapur and pacify Pandavas, Kunti, all of them, and warn Dhritarashtra that don't mess around with Pandavas. I am here to protect them. So he wanted Akrura to give a very strict message to Dhritarashtra. So he comes with Uddhava and Balram to convey that particular message. And now, with all these things, when we understand, actually, Krishna engages us in his service. This point we should understand from Akrura's case also. Only when he is confident that we will do that service in proper seva bhav. So Akrura took that service on his head and he went to Hastinapur. That's in the next chapter we see. And prayers, one of the important things about Vandanam, these prayers, is that these prayers are always offered from the transcendental platform. It's not a mundane covered by the three modes. That is why any prayer in Bhagavatam that we say, it's all in this, Bhagavatam itself is, every word is from the spiritual world, more so for the prayers in the Bhagavatam. And here, we see this particular verse which we saw this, right? Akrura is so beautifully praying that my home has become most fortunate because you have entered it. So we have to allow Krishna to enter into our home and hearts. Just like our home, heart is also where Krishna resides. There is a big difference between residence and accommodation, right? In the English words we use this, many times we use this word residence versus accommodation. Accommodation means you get accommodated, Especially in Kartik months you go, there's so many, very difficult to find, right? So they'll say you call somebody and do it, you'll say, Prabhu, already 8 people are there, but we can adjust, we can accommodate you. Means you can adjust as part of us, just hide like this. We know that it's only for 2-3 days, and they also know that it's only for 2-3 days. So they will be gone. But a residence means you can stretch your legs, stretch your hands, everything, and whichever way you want to, to your home basically. So we have to let Krishna come and reside in our hearts. That residence is what actually we have to hanker for. Krishna, I am clearing all the kama, krodha, lobha, mada, mosa, all these, put all those different furnitures, and there's hardly enough space for Krishna to be sneaking there, right? Here we have no furnitures. So nicely so many of us can sit, isn't it? But I put some 15-20 different chairs, then we do not have enough place for so many people to sit. So Krishna is Vishal, right? Badri Vishal we call him. So he wants more space. Wherever he goes. In Badri Vishal also it was originally Kedarnath's place. So he just came initially like a small boy and then he took the whole place. In south also there is a place called Sarangpani temple, that's one of the Divya Desams. Then very next to that there is a Shiva temple, Someshwar temple. Originally that whole land was Shiva's area. So Someshwar was holding the whole area. And Sarangpani, he came directly from the battlefield. And he came, even now that temple is in the form of a chariot. So when he came, he said, I'm tired of fighting, so please can I just sit here a little bit. So Shiva said, okay, you please take. After some time he said, I will just stretch a little bit. And then he stretched a bit more. And then he completely occupied more space. Now that Someshwar is smaller and Sarangpani is bigger. So Krishna is like that, once he enters, he will occupy more space and he will be the only one occupying the whole thing. So Krishna entering means our consciousness or the atmosphere in the house is purified. That's more important to know. Not that just like devotees are coming, offer prasadam, Prabhu, okay, you came, you are purified. After they leave, again the whole drama starts. That doesn't work, The consciousness, Prabhupada, that's why his words are so amazing that if you look into each and every word, we can do thesis on each of these words. Prabhupada in that verse, Nayad Vachas Chitra Padam Harer Yasho, in the translation uses the word, sanctifies the atmosphere of the whole universe. Atmosphere is not just the air. Atmosphere is not just the water, thing, they are also included. But atmosphere is the space in our heart. The space in our place where it will retain its purity even after that saint person leaves or goes away. That is how strong that atmosphere means. So it sanctifies the atmosphere of the whole universe, Jagat Pavitram. So in the form of Krishna enters, I just want to conclude with this point, that when Krishna enters in our home in the form of deities, Shastras, devotees, etc., we should welcome him lovingly like Akrura. Now, not only that we should welcome, we should let everyone else get an opportunity to welcome. As we know, this month is book marathon month, right? So we are giving so many opportunities for devotees to welcome Krishna. We are not just giving Bhagavad Gita, we are giving Krishna to them. Like today, Prabhuji announced, I think 1472, Prabhu, yesterday's distribution. So 1472 people received Krishna in their home yesterday. It's amazing, right? So that's how we should see this whole processes. And then same way we should hear Krishna Katha. Welcome Krishna Katha also in our hearts. No? Bhagavan Vishate Hridi. I will end here. And I think we have a couple of minutes for questions, Prabhu. Any questions, comments, reflections? Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhuji. So as you mentioned, like Akrura welcoming Krishna and saying, I'm the most fortunate. So like every morning we are getting opportunity to chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And that's how we are welcoming Krishna.
Yes.
In our tongue, ears and heart. So how to build that mood and realizing like in how we can pray in that, prayerful mood, like I'm accessing Krishna and, he's like through our tongue, he is accessible so that we can improve our chanting. Like
Yes,
what learning we can take from like Akrura? Yeah.
From Akrura, right? So this whole process of devotional service, Prabhu, it is the only potent process. Never ever undermine the potency of the devotional service. Prabhupada used to say this. No, never ever undermine. Sometimes it may look like it is working, sometimes it may look like it is not working. That not working is not because of the process's fault, it's because of our inefficiency. So the way we see this thing, how do we take lessons from Akrura, is that we see how much potency this has. Like there's a beautiful shloka in 12th canto, 12:48, I think, 48 or 49. Sankirtyamano Bhagavan Anantaha Shrutanubhavo Vyasanam hi Punsam. See, Sankirtyamano Bhagavan Anantaha. By just simply doing Sankirtan incorporates all the process, whether it is distributing prasadam or it means glorification basically, deity worship or any service that we do, right? Bhagavan Anantaha, Krishna is unlimited, so his Sankirtan is also unlimited. Sankirtyamano Bhagavan Anantaha Shrutanubhavo. The process, how we can do is, when we do the Sankirtan, we should also have Shruti, we should hear also. And by doing that, we get the Anubhava experience. And with that experience, what happens is, Vyasanam hi Pumsam. Vyasana means all the anarthas in our hearts, all our disturbances, anxieties, everything is dissipated. But how it is dissipated? Krishna is personally clearing those. Dunoti, Vyasanam hi Pumsam. How he does it is there in the next two lines. Pravishya Chittam Vidunotya Shesham. He enters into our Pravishya. Here also he said Praveshya. Avesha, Pravesha. So Krishna enters in our hearts. Pravishya Chittam. How? In the Chittam, consciousness. Vidunoti Ashesham. He takes the broom and vacuum cleaner or everything to clean. He is who does the jadu and ponch and all that. He is literally doing that in our hearts. And that is how all of those things are dissipated. So if you have to gain something from Akrura or from any of the devotees for that matter, it's that they really appreciated Krishna and the process so much. And how it clears, Yatha Tamorko Abramivati Vataha. Just as soon as the sun comes, the ignorance is dissipated. Same way, as soon as the wind blows, the clouds are dissipated. You see? So this is how we understand how Akrura is teaching us, Prabhu. And most important thing to learn from Akrura is just be there, just be alive. Krishna will take care of it, everything else. Prabhu? Yes, Mataji. Can somebody give her mic? And sorry, one other point that we learn from this particular verse also, Prabhu, which you discussed, is that he is telling this, forefathers and demigods and everybody is you. So if I just simply serve you, then it's like all the pancha yajna is all done, right? So that's a very, very important lesson to learn, Because as devotees, we may do so many services, but the ultimate aim of the transformation of our heart is to see Krishna in everybody. Everybody is part and parcel of Krishna. Only then we can understand that this process is working for us, or we are doing it in a proper way. Otherwise, I may do for many years, but still if I am doing discriminating tendency towards people, even among devotees or outside also, with so many different ways and means, then actually Krishna is not pleased with our devotional service. Thanks, Prabhu. Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Who's the Balaram? Who's the Balaram?
Who is the Balaram?
Yes.
Is there, right there.
Actually, I don't know about the story because I'm studying in a Krishna hostel, but I'm a Hindu, I'm from Bombay. So I want to know, I asked the one lady, she told me Balaram is the Krishna's brother.
Yes.
But I want to details about that. That's it.
It's too short a time to describe about Balram, because he's Ananta Shesha, himself is unlimited. But one thing is that Balram is a brother and he is a servant also. He is so much a devotee that he serves in all the capacities possible. He serves Krishna in all capacities possible, and he is our Adi Guru also. He is the source of all, he is the original spiritual master, Adi Guru. So anything you learn, even this question that is coming from you is because he has inspired you to ask this question. So,
And I want to ask, Mirabai and Radhabai, they are the same, they are different?
no, they are different.
Okay, can you just explain me, Guruji?
No, it's Mirabai is a devotee like any other acharyas we have, like we have the Sadhu Goswamis here and then so many other saints who have come. But Radharani is eternal consort of Krishna, Shakti, the Shakti Tattva.
What is meant by Shakti Tattva?
Shakti Tattva means she is the origin of all the potency of Krishna. Krishna is the potent, he is the Radharani is the source of all the potency. This is too detailed, we will stop with that. Anything else we can stop here? Any comments, reflections? I think it's fine. Thank you. Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Gurudev ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari 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 Bhagavancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripasindu Patitanam Pavaneka. Thank you so much.